And here we go.
We are live.
We are live. Hey, everybody, welcome. John and Shannon Crom here from the Crom Real Estate team at Real Broker.
That's right.
That's an announcement we've got coming soon. But welcome to What's Happening in Central Oregon. And what are we going to talk about today?
We got a couple items to go over.
Okay. Well, the first thing we need to do is what? First thing we need to do
is not give me a spinny chair because I'm going to do this the whole time.
First thing we're going to do is we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from our audience. Where are you guys tuning in from? Are you new to the channel? Are you new to Central Oregon? Or are you watching from outside of the area? Because you're thinking about moving to Central Oregon. We want these particular videos to be kind of a resource for people who live in town, kind of a news source. Yeah. So people know what's going on. People know what's happening. So anyway, go ahead, feel free to tune in and, let us know down in the comment section where you guys are coming in from, stuff like that. Also, questions. Where's my little button for that? Questions. We want to know what kind of questions do you guys have if you happen to be tuning in. A lot of people watch this on the replay later, but if you happen to be tuning in right now and you have some burning question about Central Oregon, drop it in the comments. We'll check it when we get to the end of the video, or maybe even
if it's after the video.
Yeah,
leave it in there, and then we can get to it and we can answer it on the next podcast.
Exactly. So, all right, we've got let's see here. Boy, we are one stinking minute into this, and we've already kind of hit all the things that we like to open up with.
Yeah.
We're getting more efficient at this.
I wouldn't go that far.
All right. Well, first thing we want to mention, first thing I was going to talk about that we did, I think we mentioned it in our last one 2 weeks ago. We must have, because I think it had just happened.
Yeah.
But ADUs are here. So for a little context, we also did a video on this, but for context, ADUs are accessory dwelling units, right? And they're like these, the little houses.
Yeah, a little tiny home on your property almost.
Yeah, little tiny home on your property where you can put a renter or a long-term renter or a short-term renter or your in-laws.
Yeah. No.
But so in the city proper, you've been able to have ADUs. In fact, the city's been really great about they want people to build ADUs on their property.
Yeah.
Because we've got an affordable housing crisis, right? So people are like, build some ADUs, that'd be really great. However, in the county,
Nope, you can't have one.
They've been outlawed forever, and you can't have ADUs in the county.
And it's important to remember that it can't be just a room on your house that has a kitchen and stuff like that. It has to have a door.
Oh, an exterior door.
They're
qualifying features
to qualify it as an ADU too. Right. So it can't just be like a walkout basement with a slider. You need an actual door.
Yes, and isn't it an independent heat source?
Independent heat source.
Kitchen. Toilet.
Yeah.
Running
water.
There's some specific qualifying factors to make it an official ADU. But okay, all that to be said, but the county. So last year, the Oregon State Legislature passed a bill that basically allowed counties, because no county in the state of Oregon, period, you could have an ADU. They weren't allowed. They weren't legal. You couldn't have them. Anyway, state basically passed a law that said the counties, you can now do ADUs, but each county has to go through their own process for legalizing them within the county. So Deschutes County has been working on this for the last 5 years, helping it get pushed through the state legislature, and now also they've pushed it through their own county commissioners, and they have basically outlined the rules that is going to be required to have an ADU in the county, and they passed it. So now, as of I think December 1st, you'll be able to go forth and build ADUs on county property,
which is huge.
Woo! That is a really big thing.
Yeah. Because we've heard horror stories of like people buying houses with DIY type ADUs, and in their mind they were going to have relatives live there and stuff like that, and them being cited by the county and actually having to tear down those properties, decommission the septics, So they need to be done correctly and to code.
Yes, and so the codes that they have outlined, you can go. The county has a great website where you can go to find out about all the information you need for doing these ADUs. But there's some very specific codes to build it. Right, it's got to be within 100 feet of the primary. You can't just put it on the back 40. It's got to be. I was actually incorrect the other day. I thought it had to be on its own septic. It has to be tied to the actual home's septic system, but. The septic has to be big enough to take on.
So you can't put in your own septic just for the ADU.
No, yeah, they want you. Well, I mean that would be expensive to have a whole other septic, but they want you to. They want to be able to tie it into the main house's septic, but the house septic has to have the capacity.
Yeah, which could also be expensive if you.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So you either have to make your tank bigger, or just by happenstance have a bigger tank.
All comes down to the shit.
we're going down the poop alley again. All right. So anyway, that's very, very exciting. It is also important to note that you cannot just permit and make your maybe unofficial ADU. We've heard there's a lot of ADUs out there that aren't to code because they just couldn't have them. And so now that these are legal, people are like, all right. And they go into the county, they're like, I need to make my ADU legal. And they're like, you can't.
You make my she shed.
If it qualifies through all of the new fire safety hardening, there's all kinds of different codes. If it happens to qualify, or you got lucky and it just you built to what you thought they were, then maybe 99.98% of them are not going to qualify. So, all right. Super excited about the rural ADUs. We beat that up before, but it is just really important news. All right, so let's see what we have going on. So let's go head over to our market news. Let's go here. Market news. Finally, interest rates. We're finally getting some relief.
You're going to share that?
Yeah, but when I stop talking, I need you to start.
Oh, well, I'm letting you know you got to share that.
I'm going to pull it up right now. Here we go.
Yep. So was it last month or 2 months ago? They shot up to 8%.
Yeah.
Which is.
Yeah, last month. Let's see. It says it right here somewhere. At the top. Go to the top. There we go. After spiking close to 8% last month, 30-year mortgage rates have finally dropped down and are hovering below 7. Below 7? Maybe right at 7. Maybe below 7. I guess.
I haven't seen below 7.
It's got it right down here. There's a little. It's like. Don't worry about these. These aren't really.
Yeah, that's advertisement there.
But it says 6.98.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. If you get on a 3-2-1, that might be pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, economic data is looking good, and now that we're past. Everything was looking good for a couple months ago. I thought things were going to start dropping a couple of months ago.
Down. Yeah.
But then we've got this little Middle Eastern war going on, and
things shot up.
All kinds of uncertainty. Yeah, definitely. So,
which when that happens, buyers kind of pull back, take a second, which is understandable because that takes away a huge amount of buying power for people when you're, looking at interest rate at 7 and then it jumps to 8. I mean, that can disqualify you from completely everything you're looking at. So with it coming down, that means it's going to be more buying power for people. Things that people should do right now, if they are looking and they have been talking to a certain lender, they should probably recheck back in with that lender and see what they qualify for now with interest rates starting to tick down.
Yeah, absolutely. So. The other point to mention right here is the Mortgage Bankers Association predicted that 30-year mortgage rates will fall to 6.1. This is their prediction, so take this with a grain of salt too, right? Their 30-year mortgage rate will fall to 6.1% by the end of 2024 and 5.5% by the end of 2025. This should provide a significant boost in affordability to hopeful home buyers through high home prices. Though high home prices still remain a barrier for those with less spending power. Yes. Okay. So, ultimately, those days of 3% interest rates, they ain't never coming back.
No.
Not coming back. It's just not going to happen. I think if you got a mortgage rate in the 5s, you should consider yourself happy and lucky and great. So, yes, affordability may still be a bit of an issue, but it comes down to, I mean, I know people that bought, literally about a year ago, and they went from 3 to 6. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But the people that still bought are now sitting here at 6 going, well, I got this out at 6 and not 8. Right. So that's kind of one of those things that's hopefully we've finally actually hit the peak, and now things are going to start a little bit better on the video if I take this way.
We're going this way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're over that, and things will continue to get better from that point forward. Gosh, I really hope so.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Be huge.
What do you guys think? Are mortgage rates going to continue to slide? Is it going to be a fast fall? Is it going to tick down very slowly over the next 3 to 5 years? Or do you think they're going to continue to go up? Do you think this maybe is a holiday bluff and they're on their way down for a point and they're going to keep going up, or they're going to stay stable for a while? What are you guys' thoughts?
Or here's another thought.
Uh-oh.
Do you think the election is going to affect interest
Yes.
rates? Because there's a lot of people out there saying that it will affect it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that's going to make it go down because they're going to want to make it look
right,
affordable.
I mean, heck,
which I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean, let it come down, but
That's right.
But on the other hand, or are they going to stay high?
I'm not.
You're not going there?
I gave up. Like
You
about
gave
3
up?
months
Oh,
ago, I
yes.
released a video, said I quit trying to predict what I think mortgage rates are going to do. I don't know. I'll let other people do it right there on the screen.
Okay.
Wait.
It is past a little
on
bit.
the screen. I'll let them figure it out. I don't have no idea what they're doing. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Sisters.
Whoop, whoop.
Your neck of the woods, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Sisters is ready to grow. Let's see here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to pull it up.
Which is great.
This is an article that we picked up from the Nugget. You
The
guys can
Nugget.
see. Good old Nugget.
The Nugget is an absolutely adorable newspaper.
It is. And it's always got the best info on it.
It does. It knows exactly what's happening in Sisters.
I mean, obviously, it's got to have the best info in it because it is the Sisters publication. But every time I pick up one, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, and I'm start reading it.
And it's pretty thick little newspaper. It's not like a 2-pager. I mean, you would think with the size of Sisters, it would be a 2-pager. But
that's right. So there's unanimous consensus on the Sister City Council that the city needs a plan for expansion of its urban growth boundary. Yes. That's exactly correct. Let's go back to your pretty face, not my pretty face, but yes, UGB expansion, urban growth boundary. This is a really, really important thing. So in the state of Oregon, cities are not allowed to develop homes outside of the city UGB, the urban growth boundary, which is not exactly the same as the city limits, but very, very, very close. So the state puts this. The state basically tells the cities that it's incumbent upon the cities to have enough land to develop for 20 years. Sisters does not have enough land to develop for 20 years. It's time for them to renew or expand their UGB so that they can continue to expand. Because, as it says in this article, what do you think the population is going to do in the next 10 years?
More than double.
It's going to double in 10 years. To go from about 3,475 people currently to 7,000 people.
Which is really funny because when I left Sisters, it was 911.
900. Yeah, I remember when the
911.
I remember when the sign said that you pull in the Sisters and it's 911.
Which is interesting though, even when you expand that UGB and you're counting those rural type homes into the actual population of Sisters, just by expanding that is going to increase it because there's so many, outskirts of development of Sisters. Yeah,
and those outskirts, just for clarification, because the UGB is what I just talked about, you can't expand outside, but there are developments outside of cities. So how did that happen? Well, that happened because those developments actually were plotted and basically built before the UGB code kind of took in place. Now, the UGB code statewide is designed to protect agricultural land. So they don't want urban sprawl all over the state of Oregon. They want cities to be cities and then people to live in cities. And then the rest of the land is farmland, is agriculture land, right? There's forest, national forest. So, but yeah, sometimes there's communities that are outside the UGB. But if the city of Sisters expands their UGB, what's really great is there's a lot of land outside of this. There is land to expand, which is great.
Yeah, and it still keeps, you know, the forest areas like they're not going into that. There's actually like old farmland that's not being used. There's a lot of other usable plots out there that could be developed tastefully. It better be tastefully. I mean, because
and they're saying here also that if they do find all the land they need approximately 200 to 250 acres to accommodate the projected growth. And if they did get that, it would still probably take 20 years to actually fill it.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting in this article that they said McKinsey Meadow took 15 years before they, what is it? It took 15 years to fill McKinsey Meadows.
Yeah. So, well, the other thing
that was a huge development.
But this is just a small area and it doesn't grow that fast. So you only, but the exponential growth, like it'll continue to grow faster, faster.
But I mean, how many times do people say, I want to look in Sisters, and we're like, we pull up what's for sale in Sisters and there's like 10 properties. If you offered more properties to them,
right,
newer built homes and stuff like that. It's a small city. I mean, it's going to grow. So it's just a supply and demand thing.
Absolutely. So a couple of notes on this. All the city councilors agreed it's time to look into expanding the UGB, which is fantastic. The last time Bend expanded its UGB, it took like 15 years for them to stop squabbling over how they were going to do it and fighting with the state in how they were going to do it. It took them like 15 years to do it. And then when they expanded it, it wasn't a 20-year expansion of land, although they claimed it was. It was like a 5-year expansion. So Bend is already coming up on its next level of expansion of the UGB, and I believe that they're starting to talk about this. But Sisters is in a much better position here. And not only that, this line right here that I highlighted, I think is a really good, it's good for them to be thinking this way. The consensus is that the only way to create greater affordability, which is a concern in Sisters as well, greater affordability in housing is to make more land available. Yes, we need more land available for housing. There's a lot of drama in the city of Bend right now about its density that they're trying to increase. A lot of density, and to be honest, people don't want to live in condos on a high rise with a storage closet for all of their outdoor recreational toys. Could you imagine stuffing
your? It would need to be a very big storage closet.
Your paddleboard and your bike and your
3 sets of skis.
And exactly.
And then you have your road bike, and then you have your mountain bike,
your e-bike.
And then you have your one wheel.
You can't fit all your toys. Like you stuff your drift boat in there and all your, you can't. Nobody wants to live in a condo in Bend. Mm-hmm. People want to live in their single family home that's maybe a single level. It's got a 3rd-car garage that's got RV parking, right? And yet the city,
it's not a big ask.
It's not a big ask. And yet the city continues to push density, and the state really ultimately is pushing density. And so they want us to go up into condos. And so that's a little bit unfortunate. It's probably what's coming down the road. But for now, at least Sisters understands they need more land so they can grow out, not necessarily staying tight and growing up. So I think it's a positive development on Sisters' side. So that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Did I hit the button on Sisters? Yes, I did. Cool.
Look at that.
All right. Next thing on our show today, let's see. Let's get real controversial, shall we? There it is.
There we go.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk homelessness. Look, it's no secret that nationwide right now there's a problem with homelessness. I mean, it's brought on by COVID and not exclusively, but it definitely ramped up a lot because of COVID and stuff. And so, the reality is, there's homeless in Bend. There's homeless in, I think, every community. It looks a lot better now than it did, just like it looks a lot better in LA right now than it did. It looks a lot better in San Francisco right now than it did. Over the years, we've traveled and we've seen these places multiple different times. And the last time we drove through LA, I mean, of course, there's still homeless there, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did. It was an apocalyptic war zone like 3 years ago. So anyway, the city has passed. Let's see here. Let's go back to my. The city is reviewing their camping code here because last November, 1 year, they installed a new camping code. So let me go to that. There we are. Our kids are probably screaming.
You heard that too?
At home. I don't know what they're doing down there. 8 months in, Ben's camping code has moved hundreds but cited none. So basically, this is an article outline. We wanted to kind of bring it up and talk about it just a little bit. A year ago, Ben, basically enacted a new camping code, and it's been a year now. So
yeah,
all this article really does is talking about how has it been effective, and it seems like it has been. Let's see here. We'll go back over here. Total of 351 people received notices to move, but they haven't necessarily cited anybody, which is okay because people are moving.
Yeah.
The new code. Let's see. Let's talk about what the new code is, just so people know what that new code is. All right. So under the code, people can camp on city rights of way for 24 hours, and then once notified, they have 72 hours to move. Meaning people can be in one place for around 4 days at a time. After that time, people have to move their belongings at least one city block or 600 feet, and they cannot return for at least 3 days. Basically, we're asking our homeless to be very nomadic and continue moving.
Mm-hmm.
No more than 3 encampments are allowed per block, and people aren't allowed to camp on city property or rights of way within 1,000 feet of shelters, which I'm assuming just means residence, homes.
I'm confused by that word, actually.
Yeah, a little bit. So basically, I think that we've seen since last March when they actually implemented it, I think things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah, they've cleaned up a lot of the areas and asked them to move on. But it's also, there's still a trial and error in this process.
Mm-hmm. The article goes on to say that by now most people that are living homeless, they understand what the rules are,
Mm-hmm.
and so they have a good understanding of the rules, and so they're moving, they're continuing to move around. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, the next thing about this is talking about cars, and so some people. I think the main goal that they were trying to do is keep people from just piling a bunch of stuff up on the road and
Mm-hmm.
just staying there.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a tent. It couldn't be moved very easily. It can't be moved at all.
The guy that built a shed on top of a trailer.
Yeah.
And it was over by the hospitals. That was a hot topic.
But yeah, and you couldn't move it. It
Yeah.
wasn't like they were operational trailers or operational cars or campers. They were just stuff sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have to move, which kind of changes that how it works. So, but I think that's good. Now, there are people that are living in their cars and they don't have an area where you have to move. So that's one of the things, if people are living in their cars, they're talking about in this meeting, they were talking about basically making a 750-foot requirement that they've got to move. If they can be there in one place for three days, then they have to move 750 feet away in order to stay in compliance with the code. A lot of people have obviously been upset about all of the people camping everywhere. And, so this camping code was actually much needed relief. Does it go far enough? Does it go too far? I don't know. I'm not gonna jump into that debate, but it's really interesting. I think things have gotten better, and it was great that the city finally took some action.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the other thing I find just a little bit, I don't know. Redmond opened a Bethlehem Inn shelter recently, and they had to close it. 90 bedrooms, because I've heard 2 different stories. One, they couldn't fill it. Nobody wanted to go there. And then 2, they had staffing problems. So I'm not sure what the deal is. There's also Shepherd's House is opening also really soon. We'll have 44 beds in Redmond.
Which is, it's good during the winter for sure to have these other alternatives so they can go and get out of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
But they're reopening the Bethlehem Inn one, right?
Yeah, they're looking to reopen it in January. I think they closed it just like 2 weeks ago. Looks like somebody's here. So they reopen. They're going to their plan is to reopen it in January. They had to close it just last month. This is dated October 27th because they couldn't keep it full, or they couldn't staff it, one way or the other. Anyway, all right. The joys of going live.
Yeah.
Our dog's gone. Our
And our
daughter's
children are
talking.
yelling downstairs.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to go one new development because we always like to bring in new developments that people don't really know about. But if you've been driving around Bend, you've been on 8th Street lately, let's
I
go
don't know
ahead.
how you can miss it.
It's 8th Street's a really great street, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all these older homes. It's right through Midtown. Cool road. We love it. We drive on it often. And there's a bunch of dirt being moved around. So...
Well, they like removed a
house.
I think 2 homes.
Yeah, a couple of homes have been bulldozed to the ground. And that
sounds so aggressive. Bulldozed to the ground.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they bought this piece of property all the way through. Actually, here, I'm going to pull up a map first.
Yeah, let's do the map because that's really interesting.
And it's actually cool because it's over here. Yeah. There we go. So this is 8th Street. Sorry, 8th Street here runs over here. This is Butler Market roundabout right there that heads out this way. Just trying to give people just a little bit of an idea of where we're at. So here's 8th Street as it starts heading down the hill there towards the Butler Market roundabout. This whole area here is there are 3 houses.
Well, this one's still here.
Oh yeah, but
yeah,
okay, you're right. It's still there. So these 2 are gone. And they are taking this whole chunk of land right here, and it's just a pile of dirt right now.
Yeah.
So that's because they are putting.
But before you move, this road right here is going to be a through road over to Keats, and this is right here on Vale is townhouses.
Yep.
And then these back here off 6th Street are apartments, and so, I thought these are townhouses too. I guess. So it'd be like townhouses. And then, but it's going to turn into.
Yeah, we've got a little apartment complex coming in here. That's coming in right here. So we know where it's at. This is kind of the rendering of what it looks like. It's not super detailed, right? I mean, I don't know what we're looking at here.
I think it's pretty.
And there we go. So it looks like it could be, multi-story. Multi-story. Don't exactly know how many units. We haven't looked at the plans that much. They're kind of hard to dig through. But that appears to be what's coming. And it's, at this point, they're already moving dirt. So
it's approved.
It's likely that it's proved. According to the city, it's approved. They're monitoring conditions. This is just the site there. That's kind of what it's looking like.
So there's the through road right there.
The road that goes through there. This is 8th Street here. This is the road that's going to connect those 2 areas. And
they're garden style apartments. So
yeah, this in between area here. Wait, I got a better one that shows the floor plans. This is kind of the in between area right in here. Maybe trees, picnic tables, benches, stuff like that. I think it's going to look really nice. Yeah.
So you park here and you walk through the courtyard.
Oh, I bet this is like what do they call it? Like a gangway on the top.
Yeah, it's a balcony.
A balcony that gets you down to the next level. So that's kind of cool. New villages. Interesting. These are some of the floor plans. Single bedroom units.
There's a lot of apartment complexes coming.
Yeah, there are. That's a 2-bedroom unit right there. Yeah, there's a lot of apartment coming. I mean, you're right. There's a ton of apartment that are already even here, that are already happening. But
it says 27 bicycle spaces required, 16 provided in the courtyard, 4 provided on the cut through, and 7 provided on southwest parking area.
See?
So
bicycles.
Basically
this. So anyway, that's kind of it. That's the new development of the week to tell you about, just in case you're driving on 8th Street and you're like, what is going on there? Now you know. Let me go down here, check comments, see if anybody's there. Negative.
Man, everybody's getting their hours in at work.
You know what?
Thanksgiving.
That's good because we don't have to. We can end this
before our children come in here and join the podcast.
Oh, one last thing we did want to talk about real quick. Check this out.
Oh.
Yeah, here's a little local news for you if you didn't know. I'll just say it. Look, every year, Summit High School is the best football team in Bend. Not this year. This year, Mountain View High School is headed to the state football championship game in the 5A class. It's pretty exciting.
They've been doing phenomenal.
They're crushing people. I mean, even last week, they're the 3 seed overall. They played the 2 seed and they smashed them like 50-10 or something. It was really cool.
Wow.
So, yeah, no.
And we have to have a shout out to Coach Cook, who was our first graders.
That's right.
Flag football coach.
Yep.
And he did a phenomenal job.
Our first grader did flag football this year, and one of the Mountain View coaches, Coach Cook, was his coach. So that was pretty cool. So we've been kind of following the team all season long, and they've been doing really great. It's really exciting. Mountain View is heading to the state championships. That actually happens this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So when you're done with shopping,
this is it. So they're playing against Wilsonville. Summit, like I said, Summit's always good. They
played Wilsonville
good.
last year. Or last
Summit, yeah.
week.
Wilsonville beat Summit in the semifinal game, whereas we beat Silverton last weekend. Our semifinal game, not we, Mountain View, whatever. Point is, Mountain View's playing on
looks at 4:30
Friday, 4:30 at the Hillsborough Stadium. Broadcast coverage? Are you serious? What is that? What is that little thing? Let's show that.
That means it's gonna be.
Can we watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Maybe we'll watch it. Well, if we're in Portland. Central, Mountain View, Wilson Central Radio, Portland CW.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we get that. I don't know. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be super fun.
Anyway, go Mountain View. We're rooting for you. Yeah.
That's all we got.
What else you got left? Something?
Not
Nothing?
a lot.
Anything else?
Everybody should have amazing Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you ever want to know about anything going on in Central Oregon, developments, chunks of land that you see going, moving, stuff like that, let us know. We'll try to bring you new developments every time we can. And we're also going to start bringing on some guests. So let's bring some guests on the show.
You're the eyes and ears out there. So if you see something we don't see and you want to know what it is.
That's right. Let us know. All right, guys. Remember, if you're ever looking to buy or sell real estate here in the area, our team, basically the two of us, would love to be your local real estate resource of choice. So reach out to us. You can stalk us down in the description of this video, or you can just go to cromrealestate.com where you can find our contact information.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. What am I saying?
I don't know.